Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Namo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariyachara Shosari Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnavanda ki, Namacharya Ras Thakur ki, प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की, द लॉर्ड श्री श्री गौर निताय की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Prabhupada ki jai. So we are reading today from Canto 4, Chapter 23, text number 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Arcir Nama Mahārājni Tatpat Yanugatavanam Sukumar Yadat Artharcha Yat Padbayam Sparshanam Bhua. Arcir Nama Mahārājni Tatpat Yanugatavanam Sukumar Yadat Artharcha Yat Padbayam Parshanam Bhua. Archirna Mahārājni Yat Patnayanugatavam Kumar Yadat Arthacha Yat Patyam Parshanam Bhua. Archirnama Mahārājni Tatpatnya Anugatavanam Sukumar Yatat Arthacha Yat Patyam Sparshanam Bhuva. Archirnama Mahārājni Sukumar Yatat Arthacha Archirnama Mahārājni Tatpatni Anugatavanam Yat Patyam Sparshanam Bhuva. Archirnama Mahārājni Yat Anugavanam Sukumar Yatattarcha Yat Patyam Sparshanam Bhuva. Archirnama Mahārājni Yat Patni Anugatavanam Sukumar Yatat Arthacha Yat Patyam Sparshanam Bhuva. Archina Mahārājni Tatpatni Anugatavanam Yat Patyam Sarshanam Bhua. So, word by word translation. Arci Nama, of the name of Arci. Mahārājni, the queen. Tatpatni, the wife of Maharaj Pṛthu. Vanam, in the forest. Sukumari, very delicate body. Atat Artha, who did not deserve. Cha, also. Tat Padyam, Yat Padyam, by the touch of those feet. Sparshanam, touching. Bhuvaha, on the earth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The queen, the wife of Pṛthu Mahārāja, whose name was Arci, followed her husband into the forest. Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. Although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. Purport. Because Pṛthu Mahārāja's wife was the queen and also a daughter of a king, she never experienced walking on the ground, for queens used to never come out of the palace. They certainly never went to the forest and tolerated all the difficulties of living in the wilderness. In Vedic civilization, there are hundreds of similar examples of such renunciation on the part of the queens and dedication to the husband. The goddess of fortune, Mother Sita, followed her husband, Ramachandra, when he went to the forest. Lord Ramachandra went to the forest in compliance with the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharatha. But Mother Sita was not so ordered. Nonetheless, she voluntarily accepted the path of her husband. Similarly, Gandhari, the wife of King Dasharatha, who followed her husband into the forest. Being the wife of great personalities like Pṛthu, Lord Ramachandra and Dasharatha, these were ideal chaste women. Such queens also instructed the general people by showing them how to become a chaste wife and follow the husband in every stage of life. When the husband is king, she sits beside him as the queen. And when he goes to the forest, she also follows, despite having to tolerate all kinds of difficulties in living in the forest. Therefore, it is said here, Atat Artha, that although she did not want to touch her feet to the ground, she nonetheless accepted all difficulties when she went to the forest with her husband. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Takshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Kirtanya Manobishtam Stvapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Saritam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Ancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, just a side note, as you know, I find it hard to read Sanskrit. And you know, when you're young, you're about to go into the exam hall, you're kind of revising the last minute revision. And there are like, I always remember there are like, you have to do these points, like, that follow 5 things that you have to do, or like, this has, the experiment is proved. There's one point you read and then you say, that's easy. And then you always memorize the other 4. And then when you're in the exam hall, the rest 4 comes to mind. The thing that you remember, like the easiest one, never comes to your mind. So when I was reading when I was at home practicing the verse, the last line, yat padbayam padabhyam sparshanam bhuva, it came easily to me. The other 3 lines were really hard. And then I practiced all the 3 lines, but here the last line was screwed up on. So the mind plays games like that. So here in this pastime of Pṛthu Mahārāja going back to home, as we all know, most of you have been hearing the classes, following the classes through social media. King Venu, who was the king, he was a very tyrant king. So the Brahmanas actually dethroned him by killing him through the power of mantra. They induced the kusha grass with mantra and then threw at him, and he was killed. And then because after he died, he didn't have any sons here, so his body, one of the part of the body was churned, and then through the sacrificial thing, Maharaj Pṛthu, who was basically the empowered incarnation of the Lord, appeared, and Pṛthu Mahārāja ruled the empire, the whole world, for a long period of time. He got married to Mother Arci, and now after they had sons, daughters, once he was old, even though he's an empowered incarnation of the Lord, he actually decided to show us an example that this is how you leave the body, and which is important and which is permanent and which is temporary. So he left to the forest. So Mother Arci, now she did not have to leave. So in the but she chose to leave, and Prabhupada explains all these different personalities who have actually done that before as well, like Mother Sita, even Gandhari, who went to the forest after all the war has happened, when all the sons of Dhritarashtra were killed, and then Vidura comes back from his pilgrimage and then chastises Dhritarashtra, that you are living like a dog in the house of Pandavas. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj was taking care of him. Pandavas killed your son, and then you're living in the house of a person who killed your sons, but they were actually righteous people. That kind of triggered the sense of renunciation, and he left to forest, and Gandhari followed him. But even before that, Gandhari, before he got married to Dhritarashtra, knowing that he is blind, so she said, if my husband is blind, I will actually tie my eyes and be a wife of him, completely blind. So though she had vision, she blindsided her, tied her cloth, and she was like that for the rest of the life. So in those ways, like there are amazing examples in Vedic culture about how the wife is such a chaste wife, is behaving for a higher purpose. Now, there's a nice verse, not a verse. There's a nice quote that I found in Facebook long ago. Like, you can use Prabhupada's words or you can abuse them. So I can take this opportunity to whatever I can't say to my wife directly, sitting here, explain exactly how the wife should be. So, but when we read Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many instances where when you read it, it's like, yes, if that devotee actually would have understands this, everything will be fine. So that is how sometimes we think, and I am guilty of that as well. But we should develop this attitude of that this Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking to us, and that this is a message for us. We are on the path back to Godhead, and we need to first try to help secure ourselves of that position before trying to judge others. Because Krishna's reciprocation and personal interaction with each and every devotee is different, and we don't know. So for example, let's say we have a devotee who's in the brahmacharya ashram for maybe, so we have some of devotees here, like senior devotees, Kamsari Sen Prabhu, Shima Narshima, Bhava Vibhushan Prabhu. They've been serving this temple, giving literally their youth to the movement. Now suddenly one day, one of them comes and prays to Krishna that, dear Shri Radha Gopinath, I followed this sincere path, I've been austere and everything, but I desire to get married. And Gopinath, being Gopinath, very pleased with the devotee, just then, like how in the movies, a rich man comes in and then he wants to get his daughter married, and he finds this brahmachari praying like that. He overhears. I was like, you are the much qualified person, much rare to happen in Sydney. In India, there is far chances. And then he gets married to this rich girl. And then the next Sunday feast, he comes with this fancy car, with Rolex watch and everything. What would everybody sitting here think of him? Oh my God, he's in Maya now. All these years he was like, doing all this wonderful service, but now he's in Maya. But this is actually a modern example of what happened to Kardama Muni. In Srimad Bhagavatam we see Kardama Muni was an austere sage. He actually literally had personal darshan of the Lord. Now when the Lord came to him, what did he ask? I wish to get married. Yeah. But we don't understand the interaction between Lord and the devotee. So from our side, we think, oh, if I was Kardama Muni, I would not have asked that, right? I would have said, I don't want anything to do with this one. I just want to come back with you. But then Lord and devotee has a different relationship. Because the Lord wanted to come, take birth as Lord Kapila. And he wanted a qualified devotee parents from whom he can actually come in that incarnation. So he found no one better than Kardama Muni and Mother Devahuti. So when they got married, Lord took the opportunity to be their son and come through them. So even to actually be that person, and that devotee can actually, through them, emperor incarnation can also come. So that's why the relationship between Lord and devotee is so personal and sacred. So in this thing, we have to see that whichever ashram people are, it's actually Lord's arrangement. And even this wonderful quote that I heard from Bhakti Sagar Mahārāja, who was Uttam Shloka Prabhu Brahmachari. He said, even the conditions that even how conditioned each and every devotee is, that's also a plan of Sri Radha Gopinath. Right? If we find difficulties when trying to achieve certain things, even like we're working for Krishna, we'll find obstacles. And it's like, why is it so hard to do certain things? Like for example, I've just put a simple thing for book distribution. If that is Prabhupada's ultimate mission, goal, and Radha Gopinath is blessing us and all the acharyas are behind us, now when you go and approach a person, he's not like, oh, I've been waiting for you. You get sometimes one in 100, but 99 of them is like you have to literally like push yourself, try to convince them. But then it's like, we are actually doing what Krishna wants. Shouldn't Krishna be helping us? But no, there is always this dynamics that actually works, and we don't understand that. So in this 4 ashram, every ashram has its place in the society. Now the important question is, Mother Arci went and followed Pṛthu Mahārāja. Now why did she have to do it? That's where, and then we all get up in the morning, we do austerity and everything. Why do we do it? Now, when we understand the purpose behind why we do it, then it's much more easier. If you don't understand the purpose, it gets harder and harder every day. Should I get up every day? Should I chant 16 rounds every day? I've been doing it for such a long time. I don't see any change, right? And most probably, if you're grahastha, if you with all the AI coming up and everything, if you lose a job, you're like, Krishna, I would have studied AI, but I donated to your temple. I spent my time chanting your rounds. Like, if I happen to lose my job for AI, I'm like, did you cheat me? Right? So we have all these questions. Everything, we are all living in this material world. We all have this different questions that come. I remember asking in my early days of, when I started first job, to Nitynanda Pran Pr, one of the retreats, I said, so if I chant 16 rounds, I spend 2 hours in a day. If I actually use the 2 hours in the day, as though I'm going to use it that way, that's a different story. Because I just started a job, there is new tools that I need to learn, new certifications I need to do. If I spend that time, then I'll be in a better position. And Maharaj just laughed at me. And he said, so the thing is, do you think money comes in or happiness comes in just because you put the hard work? I said, like, my understanding is like, yes, sure, you're equipping yourself. So he asked me, like, so why you want to equip yourself? I said, because if I do that, then I'll be in a better position to earn more money. Then Maharaj very kindly, he could have said it in a very hard way, kindly said, the way happiness and distress comes, even money comes and goes, is because of karma. I've read it, but then he heard it from him as well. Do you go to temple to ask for trouble, but doesn't it come to you? So, if trouble can come without asking, good things can also come without asking. So fast forward, like when my daughter was born or something like that, I didn't do anything, but I was doing a contract job. My wife was able to stay home for 6 months without going to job, taking care of the kid. So when I look back at that, that is the power, like, karma. When things have to happen, they will happen. Of course, we need to do that extra bit, we need to endeavor and everything. Like, the food can be in front of in the plate, but you still have to take it and put it in your mouth. So that bit we have to do. So we have to equip ourselves. When the opportunity comes, we have to be prepared for it. But then thinking that these things that I do, they are the only reason why certain things are going to happen, that is kind of a bit of illusion. Now, we are here because we want to go back to Godhead. Now, if that purpose is there, then what happens, like the pain that we actually undergo, like chanting, doing Ekadashi, or like fasting on certain days, getting up, all these things for a higher purpose looks a bit, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. It is for a better purpose. Now, Vedic knowledge, Vedic system is actually in order where there are different stages in life, and you get more and more closer to the Lord just by just following that. Now, Radha Raman Prabhu, I don't know if you know this Prabhu, in his lecture that he said like his grandparents, okay, they were devotees. His grandmother married at the age of 13. And his grandfather, when he got married to her, was 17 years old. And she had her first child at the age of 14. And they've been living literally, like, there's no, even the teenagers where they were together. So they've been living their life together for such a long time. And he said that every time they invite her grandmother to their place or something like that, she couldn't stay away from her husband even for more than, you push it for a week. More than a week, it's very hard for her to stay away from her husband. She'll always want to go back to her husband, because that's a natural situation. That's chaste wife. But then the important thing that you have to understand is they're devotees. With all these things, that spiritual understanding and spiritual foundation has always been there. And the knowledge also is coming through studying of the scriptures. Now, when he passed away, she was heartbroken, of course.
But that same lady who could not stay away from her husband for more than a week, he said, I could see her just in a room doing puja and chanting 64 rounds or 50 rounds every day. How is that possible? So that comes because attachment to a husband and husband giving protection to the wife is actually part of the duty of Vedic system. Just because you are spiritual, you think or we think that we are spiritually enlightened, we can't discard the duty of what we need to do to our parents, our wife, our children, and other people of society. Because the 4 ashrams, sannyas, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha. The sannyasi can walk away from any situation because he is not obliged to for anything. Not in our sampradaya, but in other sampradayas, when somebody becomes sannyasi, they actually perform their own funeral rites because economically and socially they are dead. So sannyasi can walk away from any situation. You can't blame him because he's actually dead. So in the sense like socially. Brahmacharya, the only duty of brahmacharya is to do austerity and just surrender to the spiritual master's instructions. There's no other duty for the brahmacharya. Now for vanaprastha, he goes reducing his material aspirations. He has to focus more on his spiritual aspirations. But grihastha is the only ashram, like grihastha meaning the couples, married people. They are the only people who have to take care of the whole of the community, society. They are responsible for more than themselves. Like sannyasi, he just have to take care of himself. Even disciples, if he walks away, that's his right. Vanaprastha, you are more focusing on, you are with your wife, but then still your focus is basically on your spiritual sadhana and just supporting your wife, in a way. Minimalistic. Brahmacharis, your austerity and your study of scriptures and everything is the most important thing. But grihastha is the only place where you support somebody more than yourself. So, in that way, we have to understand that. Where did I start from? I forgot the train of thought. Okay, so the higher purpose is that where did I go? Grihastha. Okay. Yeah, so always So when even in grihastha life, you always need to look for the next step. If you get situated in a comfort zone, then it's very hard to go to the next step. So in this example of his grandmother, because they have the spiritual grounding and because of the scriptural learning, she knew who, of course she was attached to her husband, but then she knew what's the ultimate purpose of life. So when he passed away, she was able to transition from that dependency on husband to dependency on Krishna. So that next step vision is always important. Okay. Now, you see Pṛthu Mahārāja doing a lot of austerities. So, in the previous verses, he actually describes a lot of austerities. But then, I don't know which verse is that. It says that he did all that for the pleasure of Krishna, or to actually attract. Okay, so when Maharaj, this is text number 12, when he became completely free from the concept of bodily life, Maharaj Pṛthu realized Lord Krishna sitting in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. Being thus able to get all instructions from him, he gave up all practice of yoga and jnana. He was not even interested in the perfection of yoga and jnana systems, for he thoroughly realized that devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and unless the yogi and jnanis become attracted to Krishna Katha, their illusion concerning existence can never be dispelled. So we nowadays see a lot of people doing a lot of sacrifices. Now, what are they doing for? They don't know. They do it, as Prabhupada says, they just want to live long and enjoy material life. Like if you do yoga and everything, your body is flexible. So you can go for hiking, you can go for long drives, you can travel a lot. The body is physically suitable for you to enjoy a lot of different activities. Otherwise, you can have money, you can have everything, but you're stuck at home, not able to move. What's the use? So there are different purposes for it. But here it says that the purpose Pṛthu Mahārāja understood was to please Krishna. That's the most important thing. And it says that karma, jnana and the Ashtanga Yoga. And after Ashtanga Yoga, you do the meditation, everything, understand the Paramatma inside, or see the Paramatma. And once you see the Paramatma, what happens? Then you surrender to him. Now the Jnanis, so we are sometimes devotees, we are actually being criticized for, oh, these people don't know anything. They don't do yoga, they don't do anything. They just sing, dance, they eat opless prasadam. Like, if you go to the Buddhist monastery, you know that, it's basically very, very frugal eating. Now we are like, feasting on everything that we offer to Krishna. Now, what is austerity? Now, Bhaktichar Maharaj explains this very nicely. The karmis and jnanis are like people endeavoring so hard to become rich. Because everybody wants to be rich, right? But devotees are like a son of a rich man. He's already born in a family of a rich man. He doesn't have to endeavor so hard to become rich, because it's part of it's actually provided to him. So even Prabhupada explains in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita that somebody having the opportunity to take up devotional service, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, he or she in a previous birth, they've actually done all the austerities as required, like going to all the pilgrimage, taking bath in all the holy rivers, all the Vedic performances, rituals. They've actually done everything. The last part is to actually get the love of Godhead. Now, we devotees are, when we actually practicing, we are actually not enduring anything. We are just born, are being given the opportunity to be the devotee of the richest person in the universe, or the entire creation. Now, all that we, as we know in Bhagavatam, all that we have to do is to be alive in Krishna consciousness. If you be just alive, like how a son is alive until his dad dies, he'll get his inheritance. Until he doesn't disobey him or like take a different path which frustrates annoys the father. If he's been just a loyal son, then all the property, all the wealth will automatically come to the son. So similarly, we devotees, we just have to be alive, right? That's the bare minimum. And everything on top of that is a bonus. Because once we understand, it's a natural thing. Like once we know this is how much it's helped me, we naturally want to preach, we naturally wanted to reach out to other people. But it's not out of frustration that we are doing. God, I get up every day morning and these people are sleeping. I have to make them devotees so they also get up every day morning and I can see them suffer as well, just like you suffer me. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. Right? So when you enjoy it, you are actually saying that as an appreciation. So if people take it or not, you're peaceful. You are very peaceful. Sometimes we actually get frustrated. No, I'm trying so hard to make this person a devotee, but he is not becoming a devotee. What is the problem? And then we start to go overthink. Maybe my sadhana is not good. Maybe if I increase my sadhana, then I might actually able to make them a devotee. And we try for the next 10 years, still not a devotee. I said, like, I'm doomed. You start feeling guilty, and I said, like, what is the use? I can't make this person a devotee. So might as well I not do the whole process. It's not working. So it's not like that. We are peaceful. We are happy. We are actually going towards the right path. If some people want to join, might as well they want to join, please. But if they don't want to join and they want to do their own thing, it doesn't matter, right? When you get 2 gulab jamuns on your plate, and if other person gets only 1, you don't worry about it, right? You just eat, because you're destined to have 2 gulab jamuns. So it's the same thing.
the other thing, let me go. So when we talk about going back to Godhead, we always have this thing, what is attraction? Now we have to be attracted, the spiritual attraction towards Krishna should be strong. Because we are dealing with the mind. Mind is a material concept. If you look back in your life, even after we become devotees, 5-10 years, the things that we liked then is not the things that we like now. We thought, without this I cannot survive. But now we think like, I don't even think about it. No, so mind has this play of attraction and repulsion. And even when you become devotees, we have this quarrel with the mind. Oh my God, I like this one, but I don't like this one. And then we being devotees itself, 2 years down the lane, we'll see like, why was I even attracted to that thing? It's literally like it wasn't worth my energy. Now, if you have to understand attraction towards Krishna, you have to understand from a material point of view. Like, I don't want you to raise hands or anything like that. And I just want to ask to introspect. If you ever been in love, okay, you try to take the person out of your mind, but they just come to your mind, right? If more than love, if somebody had a breakup, they try to get that person out of their mind so hard, but they just struggle very hard, right? And when you, or other situation is when you lost a dear one, and when you're grieving, you can't just imagine your life without them. And this is how the attraction towards Krishna should be. It's a very high position to be, very not natural. And I like the way Pṛthu Mahārāja describes it. So it's not like when you chant, it's like, he said one of the brahmacharis, he was explaining, like, he was in the corner of the room, he was like chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and banging his head on the wall, trying to just capture Krishna in his mind. And Maharaj said that doesn't work that way. Krishna is a person. You can't force a person to come inside you. So when you know more about Krishna, when you think about it, like the person whom you like the most, right? You see something that belongs to them. Does your mind immediately go to them? So when you know more about Krishna, he says, when you just say the name of Krishna, you feel satisfied. Krishna comes to you. So it's about us elevating our consciousness and actually coming to that platform where mind is naturally absorbed. But we struggle to get to that point. That is one thing. So this is how the spiritual attraction towards Krishna should be. Now in terms of how do I deal with material energy, right? So what should I do? So most of you don't have it. After work, how many of you think about your boss? Right? You don't even care about it. But at work, of course, when the boss calls, you're there. When he pings, you reply back. Okay? It's very straightforward. It's obedience. And whatever work he or she gives, you take it up. But after work, in your personal life, when you're out of job, you've done your job, how much time do you spend thinking about energy you put thinking about your boss? And on top of it, most of you don't have it. How much time on people watching in YouTube or Mayapur TV? Ask this question, how much time do you spend thinking about your mother-in-law? But when your mother-in-law is there, you just need to do the needful, right? You don't completely, I don't know this girl. I don't know this lady. Not like that. So you do the needful. So similarly, material things are also the same. You have to do the needful. You cannot use spirituality as an excuse to not do your duty. So in that way, if you can come to that situation, then it's an ideal thing. But we are still in between. So we're just trying. Now that's why it is said, the first qualifications of devotee is listening. So if you see Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Shravanam means hearing. And then in the 9 process of stages of development, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and then Bhajana Kriya. Shraddha means faith. How does faith come? By hearing. So when you keep hearing about Krishna, it's a very natural thing that slowly and steadily everything starts to evolve. And I would always say this, got 5 minutes, I always say this, sometimes we push ourselves too much and feel guilty. I have to assure, and maybe I take it this way, and if it works for you, you can take it. There are certain phases of our life, we might feel that we are not as sincere or dedicated that we aspire to be. And we sometimes feel that, oh my God, maybe I'm not a good devotee. It's not the case. Every day if you're chanting your prescribed rounds of 16 rounds, you're actually doing your duty as a devotee. Compare this to when you're in uni, you're actually starting your semester. You don't start studying like mad, like the day you study, you're preparing the day before your exam from the day 1. They will actually think you are mad then, right? The first day you come, you're like, anxious, like, I need to do this. Oh my God, what if this question comes, this comes in the exam? I need to be like totally fixed in, and the friend asks you like, do you have water? No, the class is going on. I need to listen to the class. Then they'll think, oh, something's wrong with him. So you actually have all this fun, you go out with friends, you study, there's laboratory, there's lab, the theory, practicals, everything is there, but then you're still in the system. You're still in the system. You haven't gone out of the system. That's why you have to be alive in Krishna conscious. But then when the exams are a month away, then because you've actually been in the system and you actually know what has happened and what was the things that are covered, you start to slowly put more more focus. And what happens on the day before the exam? Like some of our friends I know, like they only study in the day before the exam. That's a different story. But the thing is, like, at least 2 or 3 days, the intensity is so high. At that point of time, you don't worry about whether the match is happening, what movie is coming out, nothing. Some of my friends used to stay in, take a house, because they are staying away from family. The main focus was what is the menu in the mess or the hotel that they're eating, because they can't cook on their own. So you don't worry about what is being cooked in the hotel as well. As long as you got something to eat, because your focus is changed. So similarly, if you're in the system, if you're in the process of devotion service, even though you might not feel as that you're actually giving as much attention to it, but because you're in the process, when the time comes, like the example of Radharaman Prabhu's grandmother, when her husband passed away, then she could automatically very naturally shift to that consciousness, okay, now Krishna is my shelter. She could accept the fact. And that will happen to us. And I want to ask this question before I finish. How many of you here think that you're going to go back home, back to God at this lifetime? You can raise your hand. I'm seriously raising my hand. If you want, you can raise as well. I'm being humble as well. So this is what I think. I might be wrong, but it works for me. Now the Jnanis and Yogis, they are endeavoring to become a rich person. Now what is the endeavor coming from? Their own personal endeavor, their personal efforts. Now we know that we don't have the personal life. We are all initiated, most of us. Now if we think, I cannot go back to God at this lifetime, that means we are actually doubting, is my spiritual master really as pure? Because he gave us the promise that in the yagya, when you got initiated, I'm going to take him back home, back to Godhead, right? So if we think we might not. Whether we are qualified or not is not question. I'm not qualified for sure, but I believe the process. I believe Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada gave for a reason, and we actually going through the process of getting initiation and chanting on 16 rounds, we will go back, and we need to have that firm faith. And even if we don't go back, who cares? Really, who cares? If we have been doing the process, Krishna has a different way of dealing. He might want us to come back and do something more. That's a different story. But within us, the positive inclination that I am going back to Godhead, you should not doubt that, because it is not us we trust, it is the process. It's a Vedic process, the initiation, the chanting, following the 4 great principles, everything that we have to trust. So, the way I want to finish is, this verse is about Mother Arci, how she should be a very chaste wife and everything. But the lesson we can take is, we are all Prakriti, we are all women. So we have to be a chaste devotee. If we are a chaste devotee, exactly how a chaste wife thinks about her husband and deals with her husband, if we as a chaste woman or a chaste devotee deal with Krishna, then we are actually granted that place in Sri Golok Vrindavan. Okay, I'll finish there. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Any questions or comments before I... Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
Is that simply just like being chased to Krishna and staying away from Maya or something? Or is it like some people are more sort of, what's the word? Same with like spiritual masters. I only listen to my spiritual master.
I don't listen to anyone else.
Should we like avoid other religions?
Yeah.
Spiritual masters or whatever. Is that good for Krishna?
Yeah, so the question is, like, when you're trying to be chaste to Krishna, is it like you just completely be chaste and avoid everything, neglect everything Maya, and sometimes okay, this is my spiritual master, listen to him, and I don't want to like respect or give the same recognition to other religions, everything. Chaste has different meanings, and individually, everybody's life is different. In my understanding, as I said, you have to do the needful. Like when we look at Nectar of Instruction, where it says like the three devotees, the Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadikari, and Uttamadikari. Kanishtadikari is like, his relationship is only with Krishna. He comes to temple, he doesn't want to deal with anything, any devotees, nothing. He just wants to be left alone, his relationship with Krishna. But then Madhyamadikari, he actually understands the mature. Okay, I have to deal with this world, I am in this world, so there needs to be some interaction with the world. If like for example, for sannyasis, they can actually still not have any interaction with the world, but still they interact for preaching. So it's totally up to that. So that maturity that, okay, this is my spiritual attraction, and the material side, I deal it how much importance I give to my boss and other people who are not as important. So you have to deal with it. You still chaste. Like for example, a chaste wife doesn't mean like he doesn't talk to any men. He goes out when a grocery guy comes in. She has to talk to the grocery guy, get the vegetables, and he has to deal with other men. But there is no attraction. It has to be dealt in the way it is to be dealt, and then after that, you come back to your duty. So that's the whole point. So, and everybody is different, Prabhu. I'm saying like there's no one single answer. Everybody's life, that's why I'm saying everybody's phase of life is different. What applies to Mataji doesn't apply to me, and what applies to me doesn't apply to you. So the whole Prabhupada says you have to have your own intelligence to see which activities and which things suit our Krishna conscious in the best way that can be. So different for different people. Okay. Any more? Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.